Let's get everybody back up. This is a good build. I think this is a well needed. And I hate when they do that because that's the one that I wanted. We started this one off so perfect. I love the way Faise was just giving that. God damn it.
He was serving. And I was like,
serving it up. But everybody come on back in this thing. We're gonna keep it going. Let me get T back up real quick. But you asked a dope question about are you being unfaithful to your partner if you are having the thoughts of someone else? Okay, but do you belong to your partner? Number one, let's get to this thing. And what parts of you belong to your partner? What aspects of you belong to your partner? Right? And when we think of let's say this, and should you not be able to do this? Now we're going into morals. It goes in, this is what I'm saying. This is a layered cake. I don't know what level I even want to attack this one started from. Faise, T, what level do y'all want to attack this one from?
I said let's deal with it. Let's deal with it from the root, because
and then work the way up.
That's the question about lust. So literally let's deal with it from the root, right? Where there was reference to this in the biblical scripture, where they said if you were to commit or to lust after any other woman other than your wife, you've already committed adultery in your heart, right? Or in your core. So what the sister is asking is that in a way you're being unfaithful? So the proper answer would be, when we're dealing with words like faith, when we're dealing with words like commitment, when we're dealing with words like bonding or making a bond, these are all contract terms, right? So there should be no confusion unless there was only good faith, right? And there was no definite express terms or there were no definite express terms that were laid out to say, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. So let's say, for instance, if we say we will get married in the next 5 years, and within that term, because that's what that term will be, all right, here are the conditions. So the terms especially would be the time period, but also the words to say that here are the conditions or the states in which we're going to operate until we reach that 5th year. So you're gonna be allowed to see other people, date other people, have sex with other people, whatever. But at this 5th year, all right, we're gonna cut all of that out, and we're gonna commit to each other, meaning we will no longer have sex with anybody. We're gonna commit to our family. We're gonna start a family. We're gonna build a house, empire, whatever. All right. This part of the commitment is to say that we're still locked in with each other. After we get to that 5th year, where we've crossed that threshold and say, okay, now it's time to get serious. Let's get married. All right. Now you're no longer dealing with the realm of what would appear as infidelity or being unfaithful or any of that. Now you're faithful to each other and committed to each other. So then it will still depend on the contract. So let's say both parties are saying, I want you and only you, right? This is a verbal contract. I want you and only you. This is why nobody can make a natural argument against cheating. All right. Even though cheating is in the nature of mankind or womankind, whatever humanity, cheating is in our nature, because you can lie. Like the elders used to say, you lie, you steal, you cheat. Whatever, you lie, you cheat, you steal, you kill. Right. All of it goes hand in hand when you know you're not supposed to do something because of what you already said. You're honorable at that point to keep that. You're going to do. You understand? You're not going to go against that. So let's say you make a commitment. Let's keep it brief. You make a commitment with this person after those 5 years and say, we're going to only deal with each other. All right. One another. We're going to take this walk together to death do us part. I belong to you in that regard, as in my body is nobody else's. That's why they created whole religions to teach people this type of science, which is why if people didn't need the religions, we would have never created them. You still had to learn to cover up. You put it in the Quran and say, don't walk in such a way that's going to entice or seduce other men. Save your body for your husband. This was to help all of the other stuff that you see right now, even in the spiritual community. It was to prevent that from happening. If you were to raise children up on these types of principles without rebelling yourselves, then you say, wait till marriage. Marriage doesn't mean get a ring. Marriage means when you finally have a line, even scientifically, first of all, who are your mother and your fathers, your mothers and fathers on this side, that side? What are your genes like? How can I test that out? Does anybody have any mental disorders? The history of violence? We would go through scientifically picking a partner, not just because somebody, oh, I like them because they're light skinned. I want my child to have.
What do you smell like?
What do you smell like? You know, do you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain or not? Because if you don't, then that's going to be an issue for the person who does. So here's the point, and I'm gonna keep it brief. The point is, when the person, when these people come together and they make that commitment, all right, the moment that you, and that's why you have Instagram, social media, all this other stuff made it worse. The moment you made this commitment, but you've allowed it to be that you still lust after another person, man or woman, all right? As a man thinketh, all right, so shall he be. When they said you have already committed adultery in your heart, they're not saying your body has literally committed adultery. What does it start with? It starts with a thought, all right? So the moment that you're lusting, especially the fact that you're at lust, you're operating from the root. Let's say there was a shift in time and a shift in space, and it warped. And the same person that you were lusting over, all right, teleported from where she was at and wherever she was at and right into your bed, and your partner isn't there. And you were already there in that essence saying you want this person. Knowing men specifically, yes, they would go right for whatever was available at that point. So the point is, yes, it is the maintenance of faith at that point is only that the actual deed hasn't transpired yet. But it all starts small. Start with a little text message, or start with a little let's like this picture or share this over here, or respond to a story, or go out to this bar or whatever. It start there, and the next thing you know, the action of the, breaking the contract that you made with another living conscious being that's able to overstand that contract and make it with you is already been commenced at that point. And the stages that lead up to that are saying, yes, this person will prove to be unfaithful to that contract.
So basically he's saying yes. But here's something I want to entertain just for the sake of this one. Has anyone ever said that if you think about another woman, I'm leaving you? You've ever heard that?
There's several women that are crazy. No, I won't say crazy. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I've definitely heard
women
that
that
a few
have
times in my life. Don't
trauma
even think about it.
or unbalancement in them that state. Yes, if you even look, I
I
wish you
bet
would
not
even
ever.
look that way.
I bet
I
not
wish
never
you
find
would
out.
look, think.
I want to say
thought.
something though, right?
I get where you're going
So
with this.
I do agree, as a man thinks, so he is. But however, I think it's also in everyone's nature, not just man, but to have love for other people. It's like he said, once you make an agreement, you you can think all the fuck you want. You can have thoughts. Those are your thoughts. But you cannot act on those thoughts. That's what makes the infidelity
Now,
come. That's what makes you the liar and the cheat.
Let me show you a key, and I want you to take it, and I want every man that's on here to take this key, right? If you're still lusting, you're not in love. If you're still lusting over other women, you're not in love. And the elders will tell you this, because they've grown to the part where now it's like they have to focus on more about the brain. They have to be more conscious of their body. All right, they're running out of time, so they have to pay more attention to their hormones, how they respond to certain things, their blood pressure, all of that. And if you talk to the elders, they'll tell you, if you still running around on her, you do not love her. Or no, excuse me, you're not in love with her.
And
you don't love her.
This is a powerful point. And this is what I'm gonna tell you. This is how now we get into a form of witchcraft in the state of pornography. Okay,
that's a weapon.
Because
pornography is a straight up
this form
weapon.
of witchcraft. Look, you ain't even like that woman, but now you see her bouncing. They just had her up. Now you like this type. Now that's become your type.
Right.
That wasn't your type. Now that's your type.
Right.
Right. Now everything you want to see, you get to see it. But not only that, but watch it. It gives more. Now they gonna fuck your mind up. Now, oh, stepfather with stepdaughter.
Incest.
Stepmom. Stepson. Oh, now dad.
But that ain't nothing but a step, because then it goes father.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they keep
mother.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And they start working your ass down. See now this is the thing that'll keep you out of love. And they're using this form of witchcraft and this tool to keep you out of love and keep you in this lustful state. Like some
Yes.
people laugh when I
And
said smell, but the smell is tied to the pheromone.
Yeah.
oh, it
See,
is.
the
It is. Listen.
pheromone in your pheromones is that is the essence. That is like a tangible essence of you.
Mm-hmm.
No, and
Your
in fact,
lust is
look,
tied.
'cause
Your lust
since
is tied to your algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
look, I want to show y'all something because this is true. Since I've been plant-based 9 years now, right? A few years back, I caught a tuna fish, right? It was my first tuna, and it was about like 100-pound tuna. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a piece of this tuna, right? My body started to stink, and I started to notice that the women around me wasn't being attracted to me like that. So when my body was clean, there was a pheromone that my armpits was releasing. Literally, I would be sitting by myself, and these women would come up to me and go, "Oh my God, you smell really good." That's because my body is clean.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an attraction. You have to be clean
Mm-hmm.
in order to even operate in these realms. So now, when a man or a woman is lusting and acting and doing in such a manner, you're not clean. And other women will attract that. So you see how they be like women when you get a lot of women, they can smell other women and then they get attracted to you. You're attracting unclean women and women that'll just let you sleep with them the first night, do whatever, and they see, oh, he's the man. He got all these other kind of women because there's a certain pheromone that your body now has created that would be considered unclean. And this literally, as he said, we can smell that in the air. You could just look at sometimes to see somebody, but yo, they don't smell right. The other my girl, she's doing Uber, right? And I'm like, yo, you had a dude in here. He's like, yeah. And I was like, yo, he was fat, right? And she was like, how the fuck did you know that? Because I could smell it was stink all up in the car, all on the seatbelt, everything. It was disgusting all around because you can literally we have these I don't know what the right word is, but it's not instinct, but along those lines, I don't have the right proper word. We have these senses. Thank you. We have these
Yep.
senses. You know what I'm saying? And we have the ability to see that. You got more than five senses. They even mentioned you with six senses. But we
It's
have
also
to understand. Go ahead, sis.
it's when a man draws even closer to a woman when she's on her period. What it's for, I don't know why, but it happens. Whenever pheromone she kicking, a man tends to draw closer when she's on her
Well, remember I told you
cleanse,
guys. Remember I told you guys the words
natural
cosmic
cleanse.
and spiritual are synonymous terms. I know Webster don't tell you that when you look up the synonyms for spiritual, right? But cosmic and spiritual are synonymous, right? So I can break down what a pheromone is or a hormone, right? Which is basically liquid light, right? They're forms of light. What is light? Light is information, coded information, right? So when you're getting into these hormones, right, what you're getting into is light that has been synthesized to a degree that it's viscous. It's become viscous and it's taken on the nature
Viscous
of
and
what you
thick.
know, or liquidy, or the form of liquid, right? So what is done is that thing, you can relate it to a planet, you can relate it to a constellation, you can relate it to a, a force of nature, right? That's tied to it. Like you can relate it to that. You can know what force is stronger in it. You can know if electricity is stronger in it, if fire is stronger in it, if plasma is stronger in it. You can know all these things because all these things are spiritual. See, the spirit trying to express itself. And the strongest type of spirit is love. She asked, what is love? I went over what love was, but I'll say it again. Love is an essence. Let's start right there. Love is an essence that must be revealed. It must be revealed. And how does it reveal? And why does it reveal itself? To bond multiplicity into oneness. That is the purpose of love. That's what sustains all of this. That's what keeps
So
this
check this out.
motherfucker rotating.
Check this out. see how brother said, and I want to get back to what the sister was speaking about too.
Mm-hmm.
The brother said, love backwards is evil, right? And if you just look at evil, you really pay attention to it, you'll see that it's short of a word,
Evolve.
evolution, right? So there's an evolutionary process that's taking place every day in your thoughts, in your brain, and in every generation. When you pass down traits, right, just based off of heredity, when you pass on a trait of your ancestors to your newborn or your offspring, there was some evolution that took place there. It's not the same exact trait. It's not the same exact thing. There's been some type of alteration or evolution. When we look at evolution, we see the word Eve there, right? Eve, which just gives you life, which I broke this down before and I explained to people, well, look, you say evolve, you're saying Eve, which is life, and olive, right? Which is still to say oh live, because I say oh live or oh living, because Eve also means living. If I say oh living in Hebrew or Arabic, what am I saying? What? Yah Hayu, right? Which I put in my book also. I say, what is the Yah Hayu? Let's get into the faithful part that we were speaking about, and let's also respond to what the sister was speaking about when it comes to the period or the menstruation and why brothers are attracted to the sisters in that time period, right? Let's get this clear. Every living organism on planet Earth and off planet Earth has a code. They're programmed to do something. They're all programmed to survive in some way, shape, form, or fashion. It don't matter if it's prokaryote, eukaryote. It don't matter if it's a autosome, chromosome, whatever life living being or whatever came together to make this being biotic, all right? From the salamander to the bird to the orangutan to the lions, whoever. Everybody's saying we're doing what we're doing to survive. Human beings think they're exempt from that, and they're not. It doesn't matter if you're just having casual sex. Again, a baby can come from that. A baby can come from casual sex. So guess what? There's a sub, or what you call unconscious, but I call it a superconscious. It knows more about you than you do, consciously. There's a superconscious aspect of the self that says, you think you just having sex, but you are surviving. That which is you are surviving as a human race, right? And they got smarter. They said, well, we created you, said be fruitful and multiply. They said, well, we just want this fruit. All we want is the orgasm, right? All we want is the pleasure. So what they say? We just gonna be fruitful. So they came out with a condom, or they came out with the plan B. Say God has a plan, but we got another plan. They said a contraception to come in and stop whatever this natural plan was of you human beings being able to reproduce and survive. Meaning you may be the only group of beings on this planet who isn't synced in because of your ability to evolve to the point where you know that if there's ever at one point a child being born, that means you as a human race is evolving. Every child that's being born is nature telling you, yes, we'll still allow you. Because through natural selection, she can decide to delete you. All right? So that means you're evolving as human beings. Watch this. How does this tie into faithful phases? Doesn't make any sense. Well, they had a story about Jesus in the biblical scripture walking on water, right? And there was a man in that story with Jesus. What is his name? His name was Peter. What does that mean, Faye? It means rock or heavy or stone, right? Like heavy metal. So you had Peter who was on this boat or this ship, and he was said to be walking or trying to walk on the water, but he couldn't walk along with this Jesus or this gaseous being. So you got three different elements here. One is the solid, where Peter was standing on, which is the ship, right? That's a state of matter. Then you have the water, which is liquid. That's another state of matter. And then you have Jesus, who was filled up, and we know he was waxed with the what? And brought up with the what? The spirit, right? And the wisdom. So that same spirit is said to be the same thing that was breathed into man that made you be like Eve, or helped you to evolve and become a living soul. Watch this. Don't lose yourself, right? So you have Peter. He's not able to walk on that water. But Jesus was. And what did he say to Peter? He said, you of what? So little faith. A lot of people are claiming that they want to be faithful. But you being faithful stands on two things. One is that you understand what the principle of faith is to begin with. Two, you have to be full of it. You have to be full of whatever that faith is. And if the faith is at the base of all foundations. Listen, we have faith hope, and charity. Faith, hope, and charity. We were all taught it.
No.
All right? Those travelers know what I'm saying. If you're not a traveler, this is what I'm saying. Faith, hope, and charity. This is what builds every realm. The breath, all right, the mind or the yield of that mind, and the works of the hand. Okay, I'm gonna keep it brief. I'm gonna land with this. Why did Peter sink?
Keep going because you're spitting.
Why did Peter sink? He didn't have faith. He wasn't full of faith. What does Peter mean? A rock. So let's deal with the body. In order for you to rise up with that same spirit or that ruh, or if you say it in ancient Egypt, you're saying the word ruh, you're saying knowledge. Go look it up, RH. If you say in Hebrew, you're saying what? Ruach, Hebrew. You're saying spirit or breath or soul or yield, like the brother was just speaking about, the soul or the spirit. All right, spirituality. Why does spirituality align with synonymously the word cosmic? Because you're saying you're being more like the ascended masters or the heavenly ones, those who rose up out of the rock or the root. The reason why Peter couldn't walk on that crossroad, which was the water, is because he was only animalistic. So the reason why people are not being faithful, they may have faith. You got men and women who probably do want to be faithful to their partners, but they just keep getting what? Tempted. And they say, I keep falling to what? Temptation. What he say? The spirit is willing,
but the flesh is weak.
The flesh. It's that flesh that you have to overcome. So how do you be faithful? All right. You have to be willing to, for one, accept that the faith itself is the foundation. It's the same way hope ain't nothing but it can't be a strategy until the action or the charity is applied to it. Right? When you become faithful, you're more here than you are here. Like the elder said, you thinking with the wrong head. You ain't gonna be able to really be faithful to somebody until you learn what it means to nurture a world versus just yourself or to take care of.
Right. That's
that.
Ask y'all back around. I've been talking for a while. I'm gonna come back around to the mission.
Right, but I want to add this too. What he said. I want to add because I want people, because a lot of y'all are full of faith. Even Peter had faith, right? Peter said, "But you are the Christ, Son of the living God." He said, "Upon this rock I'm gonna build my church." You see, so Peter had faith. He was one of the most faithful, but it wasn't that he wasn't full of faith, because he had that part covered. The thing was, he didn't do what Jesus was in Luke chapter 4. And Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, was led into the wilderness to be tempted, right? But what happened when he came out? And Jesus came out of the wilderness in the power of the Spirit. See, it's not enough to just be full of it. You have to be operating in the power of it.
That's what he was saying.
Right.
That's the message.
Right. So
when you become full of faith, now you have your charity.
Right. So, but it's not just you have to operate in the power of it. Like you can be filled with something, yes, but now you have to operate it.
That's
right.
what the walk is. Yes.
Right. And that goes into spirit, right? Because remember, we're talking about soul and spirit, the spiritual aspect of it all. The spiritual aspect of mind, right, is will. The spirit puts the will behind it, right? That's the will behind the thing. That's the power behind it. So it's not enough. Some of y'all need to hear that. It's not enough just to be full of it. You can be full of knowledge, right? But if you're not operating in the power of that knowledge, it does you no good. You can be full of faith, but if you're not operating in the power of that faith, it means nothing. You could be full of the spirit, but if you're not operating in the power of that spirit, it means nothing.
Let me ask y'all some questions, right? So now, right? All right, let's say I want to do that little devil's advocate, because the way I like to teach is to show both sides now. So let's say I don't believe and I don't have faith in none of those things, and I want to operate in the way the ancestors did, right? I want polygamy, right? Or these kind of things. And so how do we tell them, like, not how do we tell, let me make sure I want to get this question so it's clear. All right. So the brothers that want to operate with this and want to use that to justify, we'll call it fuckery, right? Running around or having multiple women, or even bringing more women into their reality just to, because they think that they're going to have 2 wives and they want to be, that's going to make them faithful. So how do we get the brothers to understand that that's not one and the same? If you want to follow in the way of your ancestors, then you got to commit to what they were doing. They was faithful to those women. wasn't still
So look
doing
at
other
like
things, but that was about being faithful to the family. That's
let's deal
what
with like this. If you were listening, I explained to you a science that you should take with you. That when I say the word ruah and I say the word ruah, phonetically they're the same. One means knowledge, another means spirit. When you go and refer to the biblical scriptures, they talk about the spirit in different ways. It's not always meaning the same thing. They said test every spirit with the spirit. Because what? They were saying not everybody who come and say, yo, I'm of the ascended master's order, or I'm AEO, or I'm a mom, or I'm a Buddha, or I'm a Christ, or I'm a this or that. Not everybody that says that they're of God, which would be the cosmic orders, meaning you've went through these schools as either an initiate or brought through in some way, shape, form, or fashion, understand what we're actually saying. Why did I give you that gem? I gave you that gem because if you learn that it's about the knowledge, you'll realize when I say faithful, I'm saying you have to be full of the knowledge before you can walk. If a man comes into the temple and knoweth not what to do with his hands, he's not full of faith. He can't be an adept at that point. Notice when I'm saying adept, I'm showing you my hands because we learn to work with our hands. First, you become an initiate. You got the faith right there, but you're not full of it yet. You have hopes to be that, so you got to walk up them flight of stairs. You got the faith and the hope. But in order for you to have full hope, you have to have what's called clear vision, right? Or what you call a clairvoyant. After you become a clairvoyant, now guess what? Because you can see clearly, take them blindfolds off. Look, here's what you're going to do. Learn how to work with your hands, all right? So here's my point to you. The way that you get the brothers to see the difference, I remember your question, is you have to explain to them the real knowledge and the real information that your ancestors were working off of. And even then, you're going to have to look at the basis of it and say, still, they have the birthright to reject the ancestors' way. They have the birthright to reject whatever you and I are saying. They have the birthright to say, nigga, I don't want to do nothing but just get these women, get this money, live my life, and die. They have the birthright. Don't take that from them. You can make an offer the same way I was made an offer. You can make an offer, but what did he say? I'll leave you with this. When people get into the evil and the good, notice when I speak in Christianity, the only reason why I do that is because I know most people come from that school. And I don't want to leave nobody behind with these conversations, but I can also explain it in such a way that the conscious community is supposed to be able to pick up on what I'm saying, right? If I say, let's say the good and the evil, in one day in time in the Quran, chapter or Surah 14, ayah 22, go read chapter 14, verse 24 of the Quran. It said that, and you start at like 21, right? 14, 21. That there was going to come a time where people are going to blame the devil. They're going to blame evil, this devil, this Satan, this serpent, this snake, this Nakaj, whoever. They're going to blame this being for the things that they did, right? So let's say you, yourself, let's say you, what's your name, brother?
Tyler.
Talib?
Tyler.
Tyler. Good to meet you, Tyler.
Yeah.
Let's say you came with an offer. And let's say I'm Iblis. All right? I came with an offer. So you offered the brothers to go in the way that the ancestors laid out for them to go in. Say, stay faithful to these women, meaning don't just be running around trying to get a bunch of women, build an empire with these women and raise with the intent of raising children up to be able to do the same thing in the order of the faith, which is the knowledge or the rule or the information of the spirit. All right? And what I say, nigga, do you know how good it feels to orgasm? Why would you let anybody take that feeling away from you? Why would you let anybody take the feeling of the orgasm away from you? And why would you let anybody push their own little religious ideologies on you to stop you from going out and experiencing all these beautiful women? Just think about all this, right? You brought them something, I brought them something. In the day, this is what they said in 14:22 of the Quran. They said, in that day, when people try to blame it on this and blame it on that, because you make them an offer as a godly being or an ascended master to show them back to the true way or what's called the way, and I made them an offer too, they have the right to reject my offer or they have the right to reject your offer. So what can you really do? All you can do is be faithful. Meaning all you can do is really know what the fuck you're talking about when you speak about our ancestors and give them the best information that you can. And you ain't going to be able to do anything else after that.
And what he's describing, I like how he was talking about the initial stages of going into like initiation. But ultimately the goal is to be makeru. That is to be true of voice, right? Because when we're talking about the binding of the soul, right? we say stuff like your word is your bond, right? We get into the concepts of what truly binds a man. What truly binds a man is his own words, his own actions, and his own thoughts. You see, there's no one that binds you more than you. No one that binds you more than your own words,
And look,
your own actions. You know, so the goal is to potentially to have this ma'at keru, to be true of voice, right? To be at this place to where my words are creative, right? It's not to control. Like I tell everyone, it's not, you're not put here to control anything. You were never put here to control anything. Get that out of your head. I want to control no, you were not meant to control a single thing. You were meant to be influential on everything, though. You were meant to influence everything, but control nothing. So when you understand that, and that control comes through your own mind, your own actions, and your own words, right? So when we get these understandings of the control that we have, right? But how do we bind all these things together? We are to bind these things together through love. Through love. Love is what binds it. Love is what draws it and brings it together as one, right? And we have to remember these basic concepts of spirituality. You see? Yep. In order for us to become one, we have to be on. Can two walk together unless they be agreed?
Otherwise,
we can't even
walk. It ain't walking, it's a chase.
You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to walk with you. I ain't trying to fall with you. I don't want to fall in love with you. I ain't trying to fall with you. I ain't trying to be in a trauma sequence with you. You see what I'm saying? Or a trauma bond with you. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to walk with you. I'm trying to build with you. That's the whole point of this, right? Let's not forget what the goal of this stuff is, people. Let's not forget. We can't forget it.
They put it in the movie Lucy. It's simple. You either reproducing or you becoming immortal. They gave you a blueprint, because this goes back to what the sister was asking about the menstruation. What happens? Let's talk about it really quickly. What happens? What is the purpose of ovulation?
It's the completion of a cycle. Ovulation is the completion of a cycle.
What does it sound like phonetically? Ovulation.
Oval.
Oval, and what else? Evolution. Evolution. Yeah. With no process of releasing of the eggs or being able to pull in the seminal fluids up to the egg, which is why they say it's the most dangerous time. But when you know what they're doing, and your boom comes right to where it was supposed to go. Right? What is it about? It's about reproduction. So again, this is why you have the conversation of the prefrontal cortex and how heightened it is for human beings or Homo sapiens, and how you having that separates you from most of the other living organisms on the planet. Meaning what? You have the right to choose whether or not you're here just to live in the carnal world with the carnal mind. Nobody's taking that right from you. You also have the right to choose whether or not you're going to be of the ones who reach this level that you access this tree of life or this tree of Eve and say, this is way bigger than just my own self-preservation law having ass. This is way bigger than me. What I'm a part of as a human being, meaning I'm being human, is way bigger than me. So the man is approaching you. First of all, if any man is in a club and a woman is in a club, she's dressed up, he's dressed up, they are there in that environment to reproduce. They don't know it consciously. So what they'll try to do to usurp that is say, let's use this condom, let's use this plan B, whatever. But the essence of them coming together to have intercourse was to say what? A life could be yielded.
And the thing is, I feel that I want to interject on what you said. I feel they do know that, right? And then what happens is, because we know everybody subconsciously goes out to find someone. You understand? Some people, I mean, now it's become a sport where you're going out to just, do whatever you want to do. But the original goal was to go out and find that person.
Right.
So you was going out with the intent to produce. But what has happened is society has had that broken. So now it's become where it's okay to have the more casuality. Now you want to get into, because subconsciously you like, nah, I don't want to reproduce. But you don't really understand that if you sleep with someone, you are saying that this person is worthy enough to bring a life into. Otherwise, you would not sleep with them.
The subconscious.
You understand? Exact. So we have to understand that when you go try to use a contraceptive or you try to do these things, that's subconsciously you're saying like, wait a minute, something's not right here. Something's not right here. Why? Because you're hindering what you're actually here to do. So you need to pay attention to that. And if you bring that awareness to it, now you can make a conscious decision. Oh, you know what? I'm in lust, bro. I'm out here just doing these things to just be out here to just bust off a nut because the orgasm feels that's the orgone energy. That's the original energy. They're saying that's the spark of life. That's the Big Bang Theory. In the beginning, it was dark. Then bang, there was the light. That's the egg the sperm fertilizing the egg. That's that light. So when you're doing things to hinder that, you got to pay attention and see why is this happening on a mass society? Why do they just have us in such a, I don't want to say deviant, but a sexual everything is about sex. Why? Because that's the ultimate life force. And now when you are channeling that life force, what are you doing? You are making a commitment to say, like the brother said, I'm going to bring forth, I'm going to keep creating, because that's what this is the creation realm. This is the realm to manifest. You understand?
But yeah, you hit on some good points. You hit on some good points. But I would say, like, a lot of people don't realize that what sex is, the isness of sex, right? The isness of sex. Like, sex is the ultimate way that energy expresses itself, right? Because it's the way that it amalgamates, right?
But also think about this. All energy flows like this.
Right.
And when you're making love, you're literally generating and gyrating that energy. You're becoming a conductor, a conduit for the, well, I'll call it the Christ consciousness or the higher consciousness or that God energy. You understand? That is what you are doing. Two have now become one, right? And then those two added together to make three. That three, good.
Now, I just want to make sure you get what y'all understand what's my purpose of responding to a question that way? It's to say that everything most people, 99.9% of people are doing is just to survive, and they don't even know it. Yep. Because even that self-preservation has been perverted. Be fruitful and multiply. Simple. Be fruitful, multiply. Right? Now you got other things, subdue the earth. You got to, because you're going to have to find a way to eat, make sure that you can yield plants and all this other shit. Okay, cool. And some has been provided for you. But what people are doing is all about survival. So what you think is just some shit that people are consciously coming up with in their brain, say, I'm going to get dressed up tonight. You're getting dressed up the same way certain animals will stick out their back more or their chest more, all right, or their tails more to get chosen. Or reproduction.
Yep.
Mating.
Yep.
So we so advanced, but we don't understand that the reason why we wear the clothes we wear is to mate. Even the clothes is supposed to cover your body up. But you go and you dress up, you put on this bright red suit. What are you doing it for? You doing it? I'm doing it for me. No, you're not. Listen, if you consciously think you get dressed for you, well, then you need to go live in an area where there are no people. And then you can see how much you dress for yourself. You say, I'm doing the makeup for myself. Okay, well, then go out by yourself where there's no people. Nobody's going to see it. No, it's all about the primal instinct. So my point is this. Not everybody's faithful. Not everybody, let's use a different word or let's put it in another way. Not everybody has ascended beyond just wanting to live in the carnal world. That's why I say the carnal mind can't please God. So the point would be, does everybody have to be a fucking ascended master? No. Right. Everybody has to do that. This is why everybody be trying to shake the wrong people awake. It's like, bro, they're okay right where they are. As a matter of fact, you might need them. Because you're trying to get let's think about it like this. Everybody, you got people who come on here and say, y'all don't want to be no entrepreneurs. Everybody just want to work these jobs. And then you have a problem if there's no highways. Because guess what? They had to be hired to do this shit. You have a problem if there's nobody taking the trash out. You don't wait for the entrepreneur, Mikey Bobby, to come and get your trash every Saturday.
Serve you your lunch.
So we got orders already set up to say, look, make the offer and let it be natural that people come. If we're all supposed to evolve as human beings, we will. But the only way it's going to happen is if there's somebody that is really full of faith or able to walk on that water. Because remember, before Jesus could walk on water, what he had to do? He had to be tempted too. He couldn't tell niggas that the flesh was tempting without understanding. You know what I'm saying? That was the truth or the reality. He had to go into the wilderness too. 40 days, 40 nights. Niggas can't not eat food for one day. He had to be 40 days, 40 nights with abstaining from all of the carnal pleasures. You understand? To be challenged. So the point is this. Everything we do, sister, I'm not saying to separate myself. I'm saying we. Everything we do and have been doing for hundreds of thousands of years is about survival. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that when you look at a world that's out of order, the only way to fix it is if somebody can walk on that water and say, family, come up out of her. Come out of the root for a second. Stay here. We would say, yo, we at war. Shut down the sex game. They said, what? Nobody's having sex for the next 3 generations because we're at war. You know what I'm saying? The only ones who will be yielding the children is the ones selected to yield the children. Meaning, we finna slow down on having all these babies. Why? Because we slow down on having babies. We make that, put that into law, put that into effect. Ain't nobody gonna be thinking about sex anyway. We at war. We're under siege. We got all this other stuff to focus on. So look at your world right now. If you look at your world right now and you say, well, as advanced as people want to play like they are, they still can't get past sex. As advanced as people want to play like they are, they still can't get past greed. They still can't get past gluttony. They still can't get past pride or envy or any of the 7 deadlies that people want to talk about to reach that 7 virtuous stages or that stage of virtuosity. So the point is this. If you want to evolve, you have to mean it. Then it doesn't mean nobody's going to have sex. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean nobody's going to have children. Don't get me wrong. It means that when it's time to choose, Lucy, what light you're going to bear, Lucifer, you're going to either choose the amber light or the emerald light. And you have the right to do either. But one is used for reproduction. Fine. But if we at war and I look over and you in the tent having sex, I'm going to have a fucking problem. Because it's not the time for that. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all get what I'm explaining. It's parable speaking, but
I get it. But
no, you still like you spit.
I want you to go back to the. I want to go back to the part.
I have no faith in men. One of the comments.
Well, that's okay. That might yield a problem somewhere in the future, near future. But yeah, because a lot of your products are made by men that require you to have a lot of faith in that. But you'll come to grips with that on your own. Your shadow work. You know what I mean? But nah, I want to go back to what Faise said about being fruitful and multiply, because this is a very important thing. When it says be fruitful, it's just not making something, right? Fruitful implies a good product. There's implications of a good product. That's what we had fruitful conversation. That implies we had good conversation. It was you get what I'm saying, that it's implying something positive when you're talking about to be fruitful on that level.
Right.
So when we're talking about sex for and being fruitful with it, right? I think that we've been eating of the wrong fruit, right? Remember, there were 2 trees in that garden. A lot of you are not familiar with the tree of life. A lot of you don't really understand or remember what that fruit tastes like. You see, you forgot. You've lost the taste bud for that one. You see what I'm saying? And on some level, ultimately, that's the fruit that we should be producing. A fruit that leads to it doesn't have to be numerable. It doesn't have to be of many options. It just has to be the most optimal. That's what we want. Your production should be the most optimal. It should come from the essence of your hard work, from the essence of your love, from the nature of your being of gracefulness and beauty and strength. It should be pulled from all these places. That's where your fruit should come from. I shouldn't find a flaw in your fruit. Your fruit should be without perish. Yes, you should be producing eternal fruit. It's so good it can't waste. It's so good it don't decay. It's so good everybody want a piece. This is what we talking about. We talking about good fruit. That's true fruitfulness. Not just producing shit, not just making babies, not just having a whole bunch of friends, not just having a whole bunch of followers. What are we talking about? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about true fruitfulness. You get what I'm saying? Go ahead, y'all.
True creation. And it doesn't just apply to creating life. And the act of playing in creation, like again, being a kid, creation. What are we creating?
Facts.
If we stand in honesty, we just realize, being that we don't even live that long, when you compare it to the span of time associated with humanity altogether, our ancestors dropped the ball plenty times. And I'm not talking about our ancestors just like thousands of years. I'm talking about grandmama them. Or maybe it was mama them. Why? Because grandmama made it be that you got to get up at 5 a.m. You was up before Ra, or God, or the sun. You was up before. You was like, yo, what's up? And you had to go to church. There was a certain type of discipline that came with that. My bad, y'all. I cut out for a second. You're not going to sleep in church. You're going to stay awake, right? You will respect your elders. They've been here longer than you. They got more wisdom. You don't know what you're talking about. You just got here yesterday.
We're going to respect
the condition. Go out and work. Go ahead.
Condition.
You will go out and work. You're going to till the land from whence you came. It wasn't that long ago where somebody was trying to keep the order. But then guess what happened? Maybe our mamas, our dads are like, I didn't like going to church. I ain't like waking up. So I'm not going to make my children get up and go to church, or go to the mosque, or go to the temples, or go to school, whatever. I'm not going to make my child, because I didn't like doing that, right? My grandmama said we couldn't cuss. So my mama said, but they said they mama said they couldn't cuss. Well, I wanted to cuss, so I'm going to let my children cuss. You know what I'm saying? We weren't allowed to watch TV at a certain time. Well, my children can do whatever they want to do, all right? And then what winds up happening? The same children is killers out here now. The same children is the drug dealers out here now. The same children is the gangbangers out here now. Not to disrespect the nations, because it's not always like that. But it's like, this is the reality. When people try to figure out what happened, somebody dropped the ball. Okay, so if they dropped the ball, who gonna pick it up? If they drop the ball, who gonna pick it up? Listen, I really cannot give a fuck less, all right, which community it is. I don't care who it is. Muslims, Christians, spiritual, Buddhists, agnostic deists, scientists, rappers, all right, authors. I don't care which community of people it is, or if it's all of them together. Pick up the ball and say, we fucked it up. And we can't blame anybody for the condition our communities is in but ourselves. Why? We always want to make excuses. There was always some excuse.
It's the devil that we got to blame.
The white man.
Right.
Excuse ourselves. Excuse me real quick. While
It was the Draconians.
We done did on that.
It was the Anunnaki.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
niggas are thinking the sun is gonna save them and shit. Like
it was Inky and Enlil a long time ago. The goddamn dragon versus it's us. And right now,
I'm gonna say it this, right? This is how I think how we dropped the ball. When we stopped listening to the children and putting children in children's place. Because we had people like King Tut that was God kings coming in fresh from the ancestor realm. We remember that. You understand? Like they was coming fresh from the ancestor realm. You've been here a while. You a little rusty, you a little dusty. You've been on Earth, and so we stopped listening to the babies a long time ago. And like just yesterday, I had an experience. I was doing a sound bowl session for the people. You know what I'm saying? What I was doing, and so she couldn't have been no older than 4. This little baby, like baby, she came up to me and was like, she was so excited to see it. And so immediately I said, come on, you want to play? She started playing it. And in 10 minutes, she picked up the sound bowls and was doing it. Boom, boom, boom. Her mother didn't speak no English, right? Her mother was sitting there like, she saw. And you know what? Instead of telling that baby, like, come over, she sat there and watched that baby. And she learned, and the mother came over and tried. You understand? The mother said, you know what? I realized that I'm out of tune. And she said, but the baby, right? Because the lady was translating, but the baby, she got it. And she did. And she's doing it. So that's where we dropped the ball, in my opinion.
And
When we stop listening to the babies and putting children in children's places. Stop
this goes
defending the
back
women.
into the conversation of love. It go right back into it, because if you really love your child, well, it's not, a matter of fact, let me phrase this a different way, because I don't have no children. So I can't come from no parents. I don't even have children. Let's say it like this. The way my mother showed me love is she didn't lie to me, right? Meaning she didn't give me Santa Claus. New parents, I don't care. Don't give your children Santa Claus is my suggestion. Because the moment we coming into this world, we accepting everything you telling us. You're training us for this world. You're schooling us on how, listen, they got something called public schools. They're schooling you on how to operate in public or the society, what to accept, what not to accept.
Yep.
You're trying to figure out why the hell people was able to accept some spirit man floating around in a cloud, but you gave them a spirit man floating around on a slate on the same birthday, at the same time, he sees you when you sleep, knows when you're awake. Same story. When they was little children, you trying to figure out how did you ever figure this out yet? That they haven't even shown you who or what they're talking about. Why? Because they were programmed from children to accept and believe. That was the spirit of Christmas. Believe. You had to believe in Santa. You understand? To the parents, don't give your children Santa Claus. Tell them the truth. When they say the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Absolutely.
That to your children. The elders taught us, if the child, I don't give a fuck if they're 3 years old, if they're old enough to ask, they're old enough to know. If they ask how babies get here, if that child is 4 years old, you as the parent, tell that child how babies get here. Ask me how I know this, because I was 5 when I asked. My mama was 5 when we were ready to know. You think you're doing us a favor by holding it from us until little John on the block teach the 7-year-old girl how babies get here. This is reality. Because if you don't tell us the truth or give us the light or the oil or the illuminating oil, if you don't give it to us, guess what? Shaitan, the rest of them, they out there in Babylon, ready to give it to the children. So the ball is to say, and we'll leave it at this. Same conversation of love. If you know you don't know something, how you gonna tell somebody it? If you know you don't know whether or not there's a Jesus, you don't know that. You can attest to the spirit, believe all you want to, you have the right to do that. But have you ever met a man that came from out of this realm, out of space, that appeared to you in the glowing glory that he appeared to Moses in, or that he appeared to Enoch in, or that he appeared to Elijah in, or that he appeared to any, you don't know any of these beings. You never heard about them other than from these stories and all these written pictures of these stories. If you don't know who this being is, don't tell your children that you know who it is. Teach the children about it. Yes, you can tell them they can believe in it. That's fine, but you got to make sure that you know to tell your children that there's a difference between knowing something and believing it, so that when they grow up, they won't be shackled down by belief. You have to do surgery to get some of these people away from the beliefs that is stopping them from seeing what's right in front of them.
Yeah.
You understand? Nobody can evolve in a society like that. You will be destroyed. Because that means all the elite have the upper hand. Go ahead.
How many of us believe that a man came from, that a woman came from a man's rib? But yet, we all know that we came through a woman. And that shit right there that's the problem, because what you do is when you program these children from young, you tell them Santa Claus ain't real, but then they can't tell the difference between Jesus. They can't tell the difference between these other things that ain't real. And they really think and talk in snakes instead of understanding metaphorically what shit is. You understand? And so this is why we have to remove belief. And understand, belief has lie right in the middle of it. You can't have a belief without a bit of lie and not knowing. You're not going to get in your car and believe your brakes is going to work. You're going to know they're going to work, right? Then what's going to happen? You're going to tow the motherfucker to the mechanic shop and get them shits working because you know you want to be safe. You are not going to sit there and say, you know what, Jesus, take the wheel.
I know I'm a woman, and I know these are men.
You know what I'm saying?
Say this.
Exactly. And so,
I want to say this. What does it mean to learn? What does it mean to learn?
Honestly, I don't think it really means much. It's once you learn that, can you apply it? That's what really.
Well, learning deals with coming to know something, right? So I want people to think about this. They send their children off to schools to learn, to know something, right?
What
Parents
is that?
forget the first thing a child should be learning is the okay. So a thing the first things a child should be learning is love and themselves. Your child shouldn't even be going to a school to learn anything, but before they've learned certain aspects about self, because learning is coming to know. So one of the first things I need to learn is myself. I need to come into the gnosis of me and who I am. Who am I? A lot of people send their children off to schools, and these kids don't even know themselves. See, y'all think that's some, and this is what we'll do to make ourselves feel better. We'll say, I'm gonna let them discover themselves. I'm gonna let them learn themselves. My mama didn't let me discover myself. My mama told me who I was. My mama told me who I was. Don't why am I going out there to find myself? Find myself? What do you mean find myself? I'm trying to express myself when I go out there. When I go out there, I'm expressing myself. I'm not going out there to learn myself. Oh no. I'm going for influence. I'm influencing that shit. The minute I go out there and the minute I go out my door, I'm not trying to learn. I'm trying to express. You see what I'm saying? And this is the problem that we have when it comes to our children. We're allowing the world to shape them. We're allowing the world to be their teacher, right? You have to be their number one teacher, and you have to teach them about their self more than the world does, whether you believe that or not. Didn't you help to create that being? Weren't you a part of it? Don't you know why they were created? I mean, you can't tell them. You can't give them this information as a parent. You named them. Why'd you give them that name? Did it just sound cute? What I mean, like, let's we have to get into this. There is a level of ownership, like he said, dropping the ball for we're talking about the home now. In the home, parents have dropped the ball. You're allowing other people to teach your children who they are. You have dropped the ball. Why don't you know who they are? Why haven't you told them?
And check this out. This is
Yeah.
what projects like Palmer Ray and Nuwapu and Right Knowledge was all about. And I was there. We were in the world. When they came and seized the land and did everything that they did, they scattered us. Now, you can't really tell who was coming from the school or that walk of life because they've been out in the world. You understand? We weren't taught. The same way I'm saying I wasn't given Santa Claus. None of the people who was around me in those times, neither one of us was given that. We were all given the truth from the gate. And this was the truth. The truth is, to answer your question, what does it mean to learn? It's conscious. There's synapses happening in your brain. There's information coming and flooding to you. There are all kinds of things happening daily that your body is doing. New cells are being registered in your body every day. If you're existing consciously or existing at all, that which is learning. And then again, it comes to the point of, okay, are you just, this was the question, are you an angel descending or are you an angel ascending? Are you just here? Because you can be, you have the right to be. Are you just here? Or did you get on this live to hear me ask you this for a reason? Are you only just here? Because guess what? One day you die. We won't care. We won't know to. We won't even know what that means to care. Unless the people that are close to you know you to care. They will care that you fast, right? But that care that comes, listen, how many people respect the works of Martin Luther King in this room? The works of, not whether or not he was a Christian or sell out or any of the some people. How many people can respect the works? Say those types of works can fix certain problems in certain communities. How many people respect the works of Malcolm X? How many people respect the works of Nat Turner? How many people respect the works of Francis Cress Wilson? How many people respect the works of any of these people I'm naming,
How many
dead or
people
alive?
know who Francis Cress Wilson is? That's a better question.
They better know. We're not going to insult our audience. We're not going to insult our audience. You know what I'm saying? We know our side.
Yeah, I think everybody
no,
on here
I know that. But I'm saying, like, I'm talking about our people, not the audience, but our people. There's not enough people who know who these people are. Yo, as a matter of fact, I just did a not to cut you off, brother.
No, you
but
good.
I just did a sound bowl, right, for these doctors, right? And all these black people there, not one knew who Dr. Sebi was. Never heard of the man.
Right. And look, they made sure of that because the promotion of it was stopped. The promotion of it was stopped when Dr. Sebi was removed, and then the next person up who was going to promote him more was removed. That promotion of it stopped. So here's the question. Who dropped the ball after Dr. Sebi and Nipsey Hussle? The answer, the whole vegan community. Because the moment that Dr. Sebi fell, the whole vegan community with their products and all of that, they rushed to try to be the next Dr. Sebi, to be the image of the man, to have the glory of the man, and not the works of the man. Everybody rushed to take his place. But listen, that's why I'm asking. The works. See, you'll say, I'm proud of the works of Dr. Sebi. You can be proud of that. You can respect the works of Dr. Sebi, and all of the works that he put in from a child up to now. You can say, we're proud of and we respect the works of Dr. York. You don't want to mention him. We don't give a fuck. We know he's done more work than all of you. And the works is what yielded the new reality we're dealing with. You look at this vegan community now, it's just products. You look at the vegan community now, they're arguing over who's going to, it's like they want to set up the best 7-Under shop. And they arguing.
The spiritual community.
I'm going to tell y'all how bad it's got. Y'all can go online right now and get some vegan pig feet.
Yo,
who is that marketing
towards? I was in Whole Foods and they was offering vegan pigskins.
Vegan ribs. Y'all niggas still want to eat flesh, but calling it vegan. You know what I'm saying? You want the vegan chicken wings. You want the vegan fat back. You know what I'm saying? You still want the vegan body parts. What vegan body parts come at?
And look, I would rather people don't get me wrong. I would rather people eat the vegan products, period. So don't get me wrong. It ain't like I'm stabbing at
I'm stabbing at y'all. I'm stabbing at any vegan.
My thing is this:
eating vegan chicken wings.
Yeah, I'm
vegan ribs.
That's
vegan
the problem.
Pig feet.
The point is to leave the meat alone, right? But now you got people eating Beyond Meat. That shit is worse than fucking meat.
I understand, but see, this is what I'm telling you. I'm not biased to the point where I still don't get it though. I get it because it's weaning people off. Some people have been weaned off by going through that process. They might go Morning Star. You got to keep in mind that not everybody woke up yesterday a fucking scientist or scholar when it comes to food or pharmaceuticals or any of the stuff that those of you who study with Dr. Sebi or walk with the healers or the trailblazers, Dr. Africa, the rest of the people, they didn't go through any of these schools. So imagine you say, nigga, you know you don't have to eat. Listen, try this right quick. Try this Morning Star chicken patty. You know
vegan version.
It might be trash, but it's better than what they were just eating, and you wean them off of that. So look,
but I ain't gonna hold
watch
you.
This. Hold on, Heavy. Who's gonna do the work, Heavy?
No.
Who's gonna listen? Who's gonna do the work to say we're gonna wean the community off of this, even if they are eating this tofu, soybean, whatever this produce is? We're gonna wean them off of this, and we're gonna actually bring them over to the vegan.
Ain't no weaning. Abstain from evil. Flee. That's why I said you flee from evil. You run from it.
Listen,
man, fuck all that.
If there's no weaning, then why the hell can't drug addicts just stop cold turkey? Most of them have to go into rehab.
No, but treat them like a drug addict.
This is what I'm saying.
But he's saying something because look, right? I had to realize this myself. When I was changing from going from when I first followed Dr. Sebi, right? I'll never forget this shit. I was struggling going back and forth, and I was sitting in the work truck with my mans and shit. And I told him, I was like, yo, stop and get a Reese's. And he was like, nah, bro, I'm not stopping the truck to get you no Reese's. And I literally was like, yo, if you don't stop this truck, I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to beat the shit out you and you're going to get me a fucking Reese's.
That was a withdrawal.
I had to realize in that moment,
you went through
it was like, yo, I swear to God. it was like I was a drug addict.
Yes.
And because like, yo, I was having, because I was cleaning my body. I didn't understand at that time, you know what I'm saying, that I was cleaning my body and it was like withdrawals. You know what I'm
Bro,
saying?
let me tell you something.
And so,
That'll happen with something as simple as, and I mean this.
Too
That will
much
happen in something
anything.
as simple as semen retention. You become, for the first few weeks, you will become more irritable because you're literally shifting your brain around.
yeah,
So my point
I
is
didn't know
this:
that at that time.
are there not? Is food not addictive?
Shopping.
Food, it's the same. Food and Drug Administration. Look, it's
But
the
this
same shit.
right, but this what I'm saying. Most people just they're not addicted to that thing. You have an addictive personality.
They're
Addiction
addicted to the
addiction is
response,
a
the chemical
personality.
response of when they eat the food.
Nah, hold on, because now we got to go back to this because this is a fact that the company that owns Lay's, actually did scientific studies, and what they do is they market sugar and salt to addictive levels. So, and I'm gonna show it to you. Like, think about this: when you give a little kid a lollipop, right?
Yep.
They be like, "Oh shit," and it's literally, it's like they become a drug addict.
And what do you call that?
You know what I'm saying?
You call it
So,
a sugar what?
Sugar crush.
A sugar high.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right? So what I'm saying is the food is a drug. It's literally the Food and Drug Administration. Now, my thing is, I like what he said about getting and using it to wean people off, but I'm with Heavy. I'm not rocking with all these motherfuckers talking about, oh, vegan this, vegan that, because, yo, that shit is poison. What they are literally doing is, because you have to understand, it's all about marketing, right? So when you got motherfuckers going to Burger King to eat a vegan Whopper, you might as well eat the fucking Whopper. It's the exact same thing. But we have to understand and now learn and teach about the brothers like Dr. Sebi. You know what I'm saying? What's the other man's name? Patrick Delves. You know what I'm saying? I've actually met and sat with that brother myself many times. You know what I'm saying? He is like a modern day, another one, Dr. Sebi. So this is what we actually got to do. And I like that method to wean people the fuck off. But we got to stay the fuck away from the whole shit. So you can't be having no vegan pig's feet, no
Yeah.
fucking vegan
Listen
ribs, no
and
mixed
listen to
meat.
this.
That's got to
Listen to this,
stop.
T. Now listen to this. If you wanted to quit something, if you say, you know what, I want to be a vegan, why in your mind would you tempt yourself with the vegan burger or
Listen,
It's like
listen,
beef
check this
it's
out.
like it's
vegan
like
beef patty?
it's
Why
like
would you
going.
not just listen? But this is what I'm saying. I want you to see the psychology in this. Why would you not say, I named that burger based off of the ingredient that it is? Why would you not say, I want the leaf patty? I want the wheat patty. I want no,
Change
because
the
you
whole
still,
psychology of the mind with the
yeah, it's the
word.
psychology of the mind. This is what I'm saying. You're still walking, you're teetering the line. You're still playing the game. You ain't
And look,
serious.
Like
that's how you that's what
smoking. It's like quitting smoking, but you going to vaping.
You feel
well look, they
me?
they have ways. Not everybody. Okay, I'm gonna give you something simple. A child can become addicted to sucking their thumb, right? As a matter of fact, they do. Not they can. Children who suck their thumb, they're addicted to that, right? I know this personally because until I was 12 years old, I sucked my thumb. But one night I said,
That I'm
I'm 12
talking from.
fucking years old.
Let me tell you something. When you guys said learn, I never got to say what I thought. Learn to me means experience. Learn to me,
Word. All right.
learn to me means experience,
Right.
and I never got to tap in. And
I got
so
you.
you experienced sucking your thumb to 12.
Till I was
What did you
12.
What did you
So
learn?
I learned that it's an addiction. Check this out. It was one night, y'all. There's a reason why I'm saying this. One night I said, I'm too old for this shit. Right? And I just laid on my grandmother's couch. I put my hand under the couch pillow and I slept like that. So I just put my hand under the pillow. I woke up dehydrated when it got me some water and said, I broke it. That's called stopping cold turkey. That's called quitting cold turkey. Most people can't do that. Most people aren't able to do that or don't even know how to just stop doing something, right? So watch this. When somebody checks into a rehabilitation facility, right, the doctors don't just say, all right, we're going to put you in this room, and they just point and say, stop doing drugs. That's not what happens. They actually have to give them something that boosts them the same exact way, just with less levels. They administer methadone for the same purpose,
Absolutely.
All right, but
right?
hold on. I
Bring
want to
them
say something
down.
to that real quick.
Lower
I want
level.
to say something to
Bring
that
them down.
though. But you know why they do that? Because that's the drug company making, they'll always be on that other drug. Now, there's a movie called Basketball Diaries. Leonardo DiCaprio played in it when he was a little kid, right? It's a true story. And I know people, and I've actually had to do this with people, right? One of my boys actually, right? This kid was a dope fiend, and they had to literally lock him in a room and stop him from doing these drugs. You know what I mean? So these are the methods that sometimes we have to start doing. We can't just like, give you another thing, because sometimes that thing, right? Like she said with the cigarettes, people go to vaping. I know how many they quit smoking cigarettes,
It's like
but they
scapegoating.
now continue vaping, and they're vaping at a whole. They got vape kits, they got this, they got that. So I say that to mean like sometimes you have to lock a motherfucker in a room and really like force if it comes to that level.
It depends on the level of poison too. So
Exactly. It depends on the level, because look at what I'm
it
saying.
depends on the level
Let's
of
say
poison.
if you're taking a drug, you on average, all right. Now we in a world society now where everybody's on drugs. Everybody has some type of drug. We don't even have enough people out here doing the works to quarantine and make sure people aren't affected by the sickness of the world. So most people are on social media drugs. They're on actual drugs. They're pornography drugs. Some type of dopamine rush is every day for people, right? You get up for you to get up out of bed. It'll take you about 50, deciliters per nanogram, or how you say it was deciliters per nanogram. It takes you about 50 of that for you to get out of bed when it comes to dopamine, right? It takes you about 100 when you're like having sex. That's the dopamine, about 100. When you hit crack cocaine or weed, you start approaching the numbers of 700, 800, 900, and 1,000, depending on your brain, right? The reason why they administer methadone is because after a certain while, if you take that drug that causes this response in the brain away from the person, if you just snatch it away from the person, their levels will drop to like 10, and they will have no motivation to get up and do anything short of feed themselves, right? Clothe themselves, bathe themselves, get out of bed. Why do you think most people need a nut to get out of bed? People don't think of this. Most people are not motivated to get out of bed unless they orgasm. Then they say, well, now I can start my day. Why? Because you've already started a habit that affected your habitat, was your environment, where they tell you if you want to really stop certain drugs and certain addictions and habits, first of all, you got to change your habitat. You understand? Or your environment. So what's my point? They administer the methadone to help people who need it, because a lot of them do, to stop them from straight going to rock bottom, to stop them from going down to zero, where withdrawal can kill a person.
Alcohol.
No,
alcohol.
right.
Some of them off of, some of them will die.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that it's that damn serious when it comes to food. I'm just saying that it's the same type of science that people could, pay attention to it to help.
So guys, we got some questions in the question box. We're going to run through a few of these questions. We're going to knock them out. Let's say we can knock them out the park and hopefully give the people sufficient answers. Okay, first question we got here. We got, what is the purpose of the man on the earth? I'm going to say man doesn't have a purpose. Man doesn't have a purpose. He doesn't. A real man creates his purpose. He doesn't have it. He creates it. That's his sovereign right as a man to create his purpose and live a purposeful life. Anybody else want to say something about that?
I concur.
I would second that, other than to say male and female is just more than just in the human race. The purpose for those two, that dual reality, is about reproduction still.
Facts.
And if that man doesn't reproduce, that's fine. He didn't want to. So then that goes into what you're saying. You create your purpose. You don't have to reproduce. You know what I'm saying? But the basics of it is to say that the reason why there is a man at this point in time, when it comes to human beings who are female, who are not able to reproduce asexually, they need the help of a man. So at this point, not saying that they always have, but at this point they will. So they're here to help reproduce, help the human beings.
I don't have any children of my own either. I am a stepmother, but I don't have any children of my own. I do have polycystic ovaries.
Right.
So there are conditions that apply too. Doesn't mean that I don't stop creating, nor am I offended, nor do I stop nurturing. There are so many things that still, like I said, in love, what is taught, what was given, what do I know to extend on?
Right.
What did I keep? What did I install?
All right.
We
Can I say
have all
something to you, sis?
apps. It's what you install.
Can I say something to you? I dated a woman for many years that had that, and after I had cleaned up my diet and things, she had no choice but to follow. And then her cousin had actually went and met Dr. Sebi and had cured herself of AIDS after she met him. So she had no choice but to see. And then she cleaned up her diet, and she ended up getting pregnant. She couldn't get pregnant, and I was, for lack of a better term, I wasn't pulling out since we was 15.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And
It is a matter. That is a matter. So
yeah,
even with me, my husband's older. I'm younger than my husband. He's older. That is a matter. I eat. I love fruit and avocados. I eat, on the basis of it's this thing that was growing in me. It festered. No matter what, it blocked something. It's not to say that I'm unnurturing. No matter what that organ did or whatever's going on in that organ, because I've cleaned my diet. My partner's had a clean diet at a point, but we also said he was on meth for 7 years.
Mm.
So that's what I said. Conditions apply, but an unconditional love, I still get to mother his child. I still have room to. I still get the opportunity to be a mother, someone to call, trust, and nurture.
Right.
So now I want to give one of you guys a chance to answer this one first. Which parent is responsible for showing the children the essence of love?
both. That's not even. What do you mean? Which parent?
Whoever takes on the
That's a,
responsibility. Whoever takes on the responsibility. Depends on the time period. Maybe one has to go off to war, right? Maybe one doesn't care to be a part of that family anymore. Whoever takes on the responsibility, and even still, that child can reject it. That child has the birthright to reject even the essence of love itself.
You are so right.
Remember, if you're saying the word responsible, all you're saying is you're able to respond. And if you take on that responsibility, you say, because I'm able to respond, I'm going to take action and do this.
All right. Next question is there a mating season for us other than the ovulating phase?
Yes. It's called February 14th. That's why it's too many of these damn Scorpios and shit.
It's called $2 chicken wing night at the strip club. God damn it.
I will say this.
Goddamn 25-cent wing night.
But I will say this to that question. Our ancestors or predecessors did know that there were certain times where you can manifest different kinds of people. So like, and I'm just using this for example purposes, so don't quote me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's just say we knew in 9 months Scorpio was going to be in the cosmos. We could bring in the warriors via that. 9 months after that, we knew that was the time to bring scholars, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we would have children according to what we could bring in at certain times. And so there was like in that aspect there was a season. You understand? That's what I
Right.
wanted to say to you.
But I think that ultimately this goes back to spirituality and in the cosmos, because a woman's cycle is predicated on the moon, right? So we get into 28. Those who follow me know I deal with the numbers, so y'all know what 28 means, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about the woman's cycle, there's typically 3 days out of that cycle, right, in which she could possibly be the most fertile, right? And
Yep.
and if she wants to be totally in line with the moon, right, it would be within those 3 days would be within the 7-day a 7-day phase of the lunar cycle, in which the moon is in our magnetic field. So 7 days out of its cycle, it's in the Earth's magnetic field, right? And I would say the most highest time for a woman to be fertile will be that time during those 7 days in the moon cycle, when it's there and your menstrual period lines up in those during that time of high magnitude, right? And when the moon's in our magnetic field, that would be probably the highest potential chances for mating if you having troubles getting.
Let me ask y'all a question, and I'm being so for real. It might sound funny.
Great share, great nugget.
And that was enriching. Let me ask y'all a question. Y'all ever be like, bro, like just to be for real, right? But it's gonna sound funny. You ever had like you seem like me say, "You fool! This isn't even my final form." You ever seen like the meme that says that, like Goku and them say, "You fool! This isn't my." Okay, anybody ever feel like, bro, this is low key some bullshit though. Like being a human being is like it's dope and all, it's straight. But like anybody ever feel like, bro, this ain't it. This can't be it.
Like
does anybody's consciousness ever go beyond his body? Like, all right, what's up? What's next?
Yeah, I think that
this can't be
My
that.
family laughed because I seen that song, Earth is Ghetto, I Want to Leave.
Exactly. And I'm not, listen, for anybody who's dealing with any type of suicidal thoughts, self-harm, any of that, I'm not speaking in that area. I would say reach out, anybody, get some help, whatever, come to me, whatever. I'm not saying that I'm suicidal. What I'm saying is I look at this world and say, just based off of the fact that we human beings and we think we've evolved, but in all actuality, we're animals. We even fall inside of the animal kingdom, right? Everybody's running around like dogs, trying to figure out the next way they're gonna just reproduce. So I just asked that question just really to put it into perspective that there are people like myself who think and say, well, this can't be it. I know that human beings.
Ain't no way. It ain't no way.
Can't be it.
This is a
because
destination.
when I look at y'all right now, I look at a people, and by y'all I mean us. When I look at us, I look at a people, and I'm not saying us as in black people. I'm talking about human beings, Homo sapiens. I look at a people who have the opportunity to not just subdue the earth, but enhance it, right? Work in alignment with it to a certain point where now you can raise up the consciousness of the dog. You can raise up the consciousness of the lion. You can raise up the consciousness of the dolphin. You can raise the consciousness of every living being in this plane because you have that much self-awareness at this point. You can, listen, the dolphin can't grab a pen and go and write their history. All right? They have to express it in a certain way that mankind can't even fully understand yet. But they can't write it down. An eagle can't go and put a book in the library and say, this is my story. This is what happened to me. This is my grandparents. This is my pedigree. You have something different. And look at what people are doing with what we have. The only ones who seem to be the guys of the earth is like the presidents or whoever's pulling their strings. Everybody else seems like they running around like lab rats waiting for their next reproduction moment to feed somebody else into the farm. I see more of these people called human beings. I see more of them.
But I want to say something. Those of y'all looking to run away and get away, you're going to find yourselves in the same state. You're not getting away from this state because you think you're going to get to the other place and change. That's like saying when I get the job, I'm going to change. Or when I get the car, I'm going to change. Or when I get the thing. No, the change begins now.
The change is the other job.
You get what I'm saying? And so I tell people like this, right? When he's talking about this animalistic thing, I always talk about the animalistic nature of man, right? But there's something that we should rise above. Like it's something that we should learn to master, right? Because ultimately, animals sacrifice for us to be here. They literally sacrificed. They gave up an aspect of themselves for us to be here, just to house what we have. You people, I don't even think people understand that. Right. And this is why you have these animalistic natures you can lean to. You see what I'm saying? Because nature, every aspect of it gave up an aspect of itself in order to house this greatness that we have. And I don't think people realize that. Right. You get what I'm saying?
This is why, and Heavy, you know, we always talk about this. You have to listen to the animals.
Oh, yeah.
You understand? So the animals are here to literally show you what you're supposed to just stay true to your nature. They don't have no other choice. That's all they do is stay true to their nature. That is what man does, but man perceives itself and goes out of its nature into the animalistic nature. Right? Now, that doesn't mean that that's not your nature, but you're not supposed to reside in that nature. You have the ability to go in and out. Other beings do not.
Right.
So that means you have to stay true to who you are,
Right.
like everything else does. But we are the only ones who do not do that.
That's a fact.
No
That's all I'm
other
saying.
being.
I still think it's dope as hell to be, you know, in this position. I wouldn't rather be a cockroach. I wouldn't rather
Absolutely
be, you know,
not.
I think it's dope as hell. I just feel like, you know, people shouldn't waste it, and people should remember one thing: you're not going to be here forever. Don't waste the opportunity to do something different than what your ancestors did. Because right now, if you look at, if we have an inspection, right, and if the house isn't clean, or the walls aren't covered over, the one who put holes in the walls, anybody from the hood, you remember them inspections where you got to pass, right? This is the reality. It don't matter who was here, who messed it up. Sitting here arguing about who gonna clean it up in time for the inspection is a waste of time. Everybody in this house gonna have the same type of judgment. Everybody in this house, listen, if there's a greenhouse effect, if there's global warming, if there's methane release, if there's an earth crust displacement, if there's a deterioration of the ozone layer, whatever you want to say, everybody in this house is affected by that. So that judgment itself is happening scientifically anyway, where people are saying we are being inspected, and that inspection is happening in a process that people don't think applies to human beings. It's called natural selection. And the whole natural realm is telling you, you got about 10 minutes before we show up. And that 10 minutes to you will be different in the grand scheme. But that 10 minutes is we down the street. Make sure you got that area clean that I told you to have clean. Make sure you have this atmosphere corrected that I told you to have corrected. If you're the guys of this planet and you are supposed to help her, all right, not only are you supposed to help her rid herself of called parasites, all right, you're also supposed to help her maintain the things that she's not able to immediately maintain herself, so she doesn't have to go through any type of demerit or have to go through any type of replenishing or destruction to get it back in order. That's what you're here to do. If you waste that, then guess what? Maintenance, I mean, the inspection still has to go through.
That's a fact. That's powerful. We got another question. Right. We got another question. What is a heat dome?
I've never even heard the term heat dome.
Heat dome?
Basically, I believe what they're describing is well, no, I think they're describing what the phenomenon that's actually happening from something being capped off. So when you have high levels of pressure, right, and you cap it off, like if I put the lid on some boiling water, it's technically creating a heat dome. So this place where there's high pressure and